Yeah,
I say, I mean medication. No.
Now, here's my argument of why New York may be the best city in the world to study. We mentioned this before, but I want to mention a couple of things. New York has a thriving transportation system, probably like over like 20 or 30 different trains, buses, 3, 4 airports in the area, so it's easy to get around. Very multicultural, great universities. One of the drawbacks is that New York is very expensive and is very busy. So if you're from a small town, going to New York may be a little hard for you, learning how to adjust. And we're not just talking about New York City. We're even talking about outside areas. New York City has a lot of outside areas, which are like suburban or even like rural type areas that aren't too far from the city. So the thing is, you're close to, you're close where you can get your amenities and things like that. Very diverse, a lot of things going on, great universities. So, put New York on your list. Look at some of those schools. We're going to start doing some reviews of some of them soon.
Yeah, just between us here. Cheers.
For international students, doesn't matter where you get your degree. Doesn't matter what state you get it from in America, depending on what it is. All right. If you come out of school and you're coming back to your home country with an American degree, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be kind of placed above, other people that might not have that foreign degree. All right. Now, what about prestige, about schools in America? Back in your home country, they might not even really know the difference between like a Duke or a Temple and a Purdue. So I really want to focus on that so much. I'd pretty much just focus on making sure that you are just going there, you're studying hard, and you're getting that degree. And then you don't have to worry about all the other little stuff, because some people will sit there and make up a whole bunch of things. Oh, I got my degree from here, there. No, the major thing you want to do is make sure that you graduate with as little debt as possible. Now, you'd be surprised the amount of scholarships that are out there for you guys. There are scholarships based solely on merit and some that are financially based. You have some scholarships that may be for women, some scholarships that might be for men that are in STEM, some scholarships that might be for agriculture majors. All these scholarships are out there, but the thing is knowing where to go out and find them. I'm going to list in the next video some different books that you can get that can help you look and find some free scholarships. As well, I always say that you should go to internationalstudent.com, where they actually have a scholarship search database, and that could be that could be a start for you. But don't fall asleep on it. There's plenty of money out there for you guys. But if you don't look for it, if you just sit back and just basically just figure out, oh well, I'm not worried about it, then you're going to get hit with a whopping bill. Now, we do have some of you guys which you're actually on scholarship as is. Maybe your school's paying for it, or maybe your country's paying for it, or maybe you're in the military there and the military's paying for you to go to school. So, everybody's not worrying about this. But for the vast majority of them, they need to figure out how they're going to pay for school, how they're going to pay to go to school overseas. Prestige isn't everything. We mentioned that before. It's not about prestige all the time. It's about finding your perfect fit. And like I said, it's the student, not the college. How are you going to do when you get there? The school might have all the resources and everything, but you could still go there and not do bad, or you can go there and do excellent. You'd rather do excellent coming out of a school which might not be top tier than go to a top tier school and do horrible. All right. So this is what I mean when I say there's a school for everybody. And you may think that you're Ivy League material, that you're Harvard material, or you're Yale material, or Caltech. But when you really look deep down and look at your school record and look at your test scores, are you really going to be able to handle that rigorous situation? And the last thing we want you to do is to go there and have to come back home because you didn't properly assess the situation. What kind of requirements are for the school? How many credits do I need to graduate? What are the dorms like? Are there dorms? How's the city they're in? Is it a violent city? Am I in a bad neighborhood? These are all questions that you need to ask before you even step on that plane. One of the most important things to worry about as you're looking at school is what can you afford? And this actually is for the parents more so than for the kids. What can you afford? Do you realize how much it costs to go to school in America? The difference between state schools, private schools, things like that. you really have to take into consideration what you can afford to pay out of your pocket, because depending on how you're paying for school, it could literally bankrupt you. It can make you have no money. So now this is when we start coming into prestige and how it looks, because like I said, you may find a school that could do the same thing as another one for maybe half the cost. So let's say if you're looking at a private school in America, by the time you're dealing with room and board and everything like that, you look at maybe $75,000 to $100,000, whereas a state school might actually run you about half that. So let me give you a classic example. University of Maryland Eastern Shore, out of state or international students pay a total of $30,000 per year. Now compare that to, let's say, for example, at Duke University, which is $75,000 a year with room and board. I'm doing room and board together. So room and board together at Duke University is probably like around $75,000, close to $80,000. And then if you look at University of Maryland Eastern Shore, it's $30,000 for room, board, tuition, all that. Now, one is more prestigious than the other, of course. Depends on how you're looking at it. But the whole thing is, what can you afford? So just think, for the amount that you're paying for 1 year in one school, you're paying 2 years in another school. All right. But the only thing that we mentioned before with private schools, that a lot of private schools, since they have a lot of donors and alumni that have some money, you can get a lot of scholarships coming that way as well. So don't totally write off private schools, because they definitely do have, some donors that will give money. So that's pretty much like what you have to look at, when you're going at that rate and you're looking for schools. Now, of course, this is important, because the last thing you want to do is go to school and run out of money. And that happens a lot. You go to school, by the time you pay tuition, everything else like that, you have no money. Now you're eating tuna out of a can. I definitely suggest that if you're staying on campus, and a lot of colleges expect first year freshmen to stay on campus, I always say make sure that you get the meal plans that are that are there. And because if you can't cook and you don't have a stove or whatever it is in your dorm room, then you're gonna have to be eating in that cafeteria all the time. And of course, a lot of people have different meal plans. Some schools have 3 meals a day, and then on weekends usually it's like 2 meals a day. And then what you could do is that you could stock up in your fridge for things that you may need for like snacks late at night after the cafeteria closes. Now, I think this is especially important for international students, because when you're first getting on campus, you don't know your way around the country. You don't know where to go get things. So you definitely want to make sure that you are getting the meal plans, and that, you try to preserve money as much as possible. Understanding how America works, understanding that things are expensive. Like, for example, right now, there are items in America that are almost double, triple they were, before COVID.
That's what I mean by the cash
So
shot.
that's just, supply and demand for you.